Welcome to this new how-to. In this how-to we're gonna look at how you can start the Airbus H135 helicopter from scratch. The helicopter is currently located at an airport. It's Ibiza airport. So let's go inside and let's start from scratch. As you can see, it's a little bit cloudy. It's also a little bit, let's say, getting end of the day. So what you can do to make it yourself easier is press Ctrl-Alt-Lima, and then you will switch on the lights. As you can see, although it's I would say minimal in this aircraft, so we'll leave it off for now. So let me show you around. So this is where the displays will switch on. Here's some other nice Garmin displays which will contain a lot of data. Here are the main buttons for the engines, but where we need to start is with the top. And at the top you will find the battery, and as soon as you switch on the battery, then you will see that things will start to work. So let me zoom out a bit. And as you can see, all displays are now starting to work. There is a lot of red and yellow warnings here. That's kind of expected, right? So the rotor RPM is not running, the engines are not running, the collective position is unsafe, there's some other hydraulic systems which are not working, battery discharging, motor brake is set, and the after and forward fuel pumps are not enabled. So what we need to do is we need to go to the top and fix that. But before doing that, I want to show you something else which is really interesting in this helicopter, and that's if you would use the buttons above, you can go to MISC and or to DMAP, and then you will see that the last option changes to EFB. And the EFB has an option to show you the quick reference guide, which shows you, I would say, some generic information about the helicopter in this case. And if you want to move to the previous page, you need to click on home using this button, and that's where we will also find the normal pages. And this also includes, okay, hey, which buttons need to be switched on before taking off, right? So the engine master switches are currently set off. We just set the master switch of the battery to on. The position lights, we didn't switch them on yet, so we're gonna do that. But what I want to show you is how you can move through these pages, and that's where you can use the MFD knob for. So you can either press it, but it's easier to do it by scrolling the mouse. If you've got a mouse with scroll wheel, of course. And here you can see that we can scroll to the procedure. So that's kind of cool, right? So let's go to the lights, and the lights can be found on multiple spots. I'll show them. So here's the lamp test, but that's not the one we were looking for. We were looking for the position light, which is here. Some of the lights can also be, I would say, switched on or off by using this or these two Garmin displays. I will use the right one. And here you will have the option lights, and inside the lights you will have the multiple options like a switch on the landing light. And if you look here, you can see that it's on or off. You can switch on the search light, strobes, the echo light, the position light, and the cabin light. So let's switch on the position light, and let me zoom out, and that's where you can see there are now some lights burning here at the tail of the aircraft. So those are the position lights, right? If we would go in, and if we would switch them off and then go outside again, you will see nothing is burning. So let's switch them on again. Then the next step was to do the lamps test, and the lamps test, that one can be found on top. So you will have the option here. It will do all the lamp tests, and it will make sure that those lamp tests are working, right? So what you will be able to see on the left screen normally is that it will really perform the test. Once that's performed the test, it will automatically switch off, so keep that in mind. So the next thing is that we need to engine fire 1 and 2, and that's also what I'm going to show you. Here are the engine fire buttons, and if you press them, you will hear a blinking, or you will hear a blinking sound, right? And if we would look at the left display, you will see engine fire 1, and then it will return to the safe position. So the same thing can be done using the other button for engine 2, of course. And then once that's done, it will go back to normal position and we're happy. Here are the master avionics buttons. Those are by default switched on and you can't switch them off, so keep that in mind. Probably that will be fixed in a later release. So now we did all that kind of stuff. We can go to the VMS, and the VMS can be found here, or you can use the left screen, right? So, or the left screen, the left side. So you can either use the left side or the right side to show the VMS. So if we would press VMS, well, let's do it here. Then it will show you this information. It will actually display the same information as displayed in the center, so it's not required to switch it. So we can still go to the EFB option here and check all these things here. So we can check the engines, the hydraulic pressure, the engine oil temperature, the batteries, and there are some things which you need to check. For example, battery minimum 24 volt. In this case, it's 25, so that's fine. And then you've got the number N2 check, and the N2 check. That's here. It's also fine. You can set the baro, and that can be done either by pressing the letter B, or you can use a different option. And that different option, let me show you where I found it. It's not here. Let me go. Sorry, VMS. There was an option to set it, and I think that it was somewhere different, and it might be that it was here. This is the autopilot config. Why can't I find it? Right, I'm pretty sure I found it somewhere. Well, let's keep it for now. I will try to figure it out if I when flying or when flying later on, and then we'll explain it to you. So the navigation source, keep in mind that it can be set. And now, while saying it, I remember how I said it. So what we can do is we can go to the nav D option, and keep in mind that you need to switch or press the buttons here and not the buttons here. So this is the come on. This is all the stuff, right? And here's where you can set the baro. So if you press the button here, it will set the baro, or you can change the baro using the scroll button here, right? But for now, we simply press the letter B. That's the same. So the same thing you can do for the navigation, right? So you can press this button here, and then we'll change to GPS. And you can change the bearing button. By default, it's set to nav1, but you can also set to GPS, and also do the same thing for bearing 2. And this one is to just confirm, right? So you can acknowledge the alarms. So that's it. Going back to the EFB button. So the rest of the stuff is okay. So now it's time to switch on the ACO and the strobe lights and put the fuel prime both to on. So let's do that. So we need to go to the top. So we set fuel prime to on. We set the strobe lights and the ACO lights to on. And now we did that, you will see large blinking lights again. So if you can see it here, let me zoom in a little bit further. So you can see the blinking lights, which means the strobes are on. That's fine. And then what we needed to do is we need to remove the rotor brake. Well, it's off by default. We need to make sure that the rotor area is clear. There's one way you can do that. That's of course using the drone view. The other way is by simply using the joystick, right? So it all looks fine. Here's the co-pilot. Once it's done, we can switch the engines to idle, and that's also something which I probably need to explain to you, because it's, I would say, a little bit different compared to flying in an aircraft. So let me go to the section that's here. So what you need to do is, if you, I would say, move your mouse over the button, and then you need to use the scroll wheel to switch on the engine. And you can see as soon as we did that, it starts to run the N2. And if we would zoom out a little bit further, you can see that N1 also starts to, I would say, increase. And the same thing can be done for engine 2, right? So we can do that, but we can wait till it's completed, and once it's completed, then we can do the other stuff. You can see if we look at the top that the rotors are starting to run, which is good. In the meantime, we can scroll further down, right? Now we can do the same thing for engine 2. So one thing which you need to keep in mind is that if we go to the what was it? To the F&D button, is that it will now show, okay, hey, it's idle, so battery is discharging, right? So we need to acknowledge all those things. But here are also two buttons which you can switch on. Those are the after view and forward view. If you don't do that, it will, I would say, keep showing an error here. So here in the default view, you can also see the status. So it's the rotor RPM, the collective position is unsafe, the engine is idle, and you will see that most of the warnings should go away once everything is started. So that's good. And also keep in mind that here it changed from start to idle. So prime pumps on. That's what we did initially. If we would go back to the manual, then we need to go to this here. You can see that after we did start the engines. You can set the fuel primes to off, so let's do that. That will be one error less. So in the meantime, we can go to here and we can say, okay, hey, the collective position is unsafe. To be honest, I'm not sure what the collective is. I think it was this thing, but it looks like it's a different thing which we can't change here. Oh, also an option here to show the pilot. Just observed it, so that's fine. What are other options you can do, right? So you have the flight, advanced, Xbox, and basic mode. I leave it to basic now. I'm not sure what the advanced is. Probably it's a little bit more difficult to fly with the helicopter. Then you've got the flight option, which is the autopilot, which I will discuss in a future video. You've got the autopilot settings, which I will also discuss in a future video probably, although I can discuss them right now. So there, it's pretty limited. You can change the AP option to on, then it will simply switch on the autopilot. The alt one is the altitude, heading, as mentioned, as you probably expect, is the heading, and the nav mode is the navigation. If you're using GPS, probably the best way is to use the nav mode if you want, if you already pre-configured your flight. Then we've got the doors. You can open everything, so we can open all the doors. Let's do that, and let's then look from the outside. You can see that all the doors are opening right now, so that's fine. We can close them again. We've got the searchlight, and the searchlight can be enabled. But as mentioned here, okay, hey, the searchlight feature has caused game crashing, so that's why they removed it for now. So keep that in mind. Flights again, or lights again, sorry, is the or the lights options, which we just switched on by using the top buttons. EFB doesn't contain any other option right now, and then we've got the config, and there you will be able to I would say set certain options, but also make sure that the or let's say some preset defaults where you can already set the helicopter completely shut down, start from cold and dark, or ready for takeoff. And as you can already mention, ready for takeoff is simply ready for takeoff. In the meantime, the engines are running. There are some buttons here which I still need to figure out. I thought that this one stands for hover, but it looks like it's a different option. So we'll still need to look for it. Maybe let's have a look at it now, so we can see if it's in the if it's in the manual. So we're gonna hover power. That's probably a hover power button. Takeoff, right? Describes it. Collective increase gently to 30%. And then it contains all the information you really need to manage this aircraft. We didn't discuss the buttons here, and the buttons here are, I'd say, it's 3 times. It's on the left side, center side, and the right side. Contains the compass with all the information, like your altitude, speed, the barometer information. Contains an option to change the navigation settings right here. Using this button. CPL. I'm trying to figure out what it is. It doesn't react, but once flying, it will work. And same thing is for the SVS option. Hover, CPL. Press the wrong buttons again. So CPL looks like to be the autopilot, as you can see. Autopilot is now switched on, not switched off. SVS simply changes the display colors. Going to the next one, this one shows you the map and some other traffic being, I would say, in your neighborhood, and it contains the compass. Then we've got the VMS, which is the center one. And then we've got the other map, and the other map you can enable certain options like show me the weather, Ori, I think that's orientation, yeah, it looks like the orientation, and then you can switch on the airspaces. On the left side there are options to zoom in and to zoom out, as you can see. So it's this is the weather, right? Then we've got the MISC option, which doesn't only shows this. I'm not sure what it is, to be honest. If anybody else knows, let me know in the comment box. And you've got the EFB, and the EFB contains the manual. And keep in mind that you can go back to home, and you can even connect to online data. I'm not sure what this option is. I need to still figure it out. But hey, it's nice. So that brings us to the end of this tutorial, right? So we looked at how we can manage or can start the helicopter from scratch, which is cool. So in a future video we will look at how you can take off and also configure the flight plan in the aircraft and use the autopilot. Hope you liked it. If you liked it, then consider to use the like button. If you've got questions or comments, then please use the comment box below the video. And if you want to stay up to date about my new videos, then consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time.